This is the Pokemon Card Lock. It's like a normal Nuzlocke, except every time I catch a new Pokemon, I have 24 hours to collect a rare card of it. And if my Pokemon dies, I'll be spinning this wheel to be finding out if I'll be destroying its card or giving it away to a lucky subscriber. Here's how it's gonna work. I'll be attempting this challenge with Pokemon Black. I chose this game because the Black Bolt and White Flare expansion just added tons of new cards of exclusively Generation 5 Pokemon, meaning a lot of the monsters that we'll need to collect for our run have already hit store shelves. And that includes this ETB. Any hits inside here will be added to our pool of wild cards. Now what's a wild card? Well, it's basically a get out of jail free card for any Pokemon we encounter down the road. And we got these to start with, but we'll also be opening one wild card pack every time we collect a gym badge. But that's enough dilly-dallying. It's time to begin our journey. Let's play Pokemon Black on an emulator. I don't have a capture card, sorry.
So after introducing myself, the professor sends a mysterious package to our house, so naturally my friends and I decide to open it, and inside it is surprisingly not a bomb, but instead 3 Pokemon. Since these are freebies in the game, I figured it was fair to hit the ground running and choose one of these McDonald's promos for my personal collection. These are the only cards I already own that I'll be allowed to use for the rest of the challenge though, so I need to make this choice count. And I decided to go with Tepig, as his later evolutions being fire and fighting type give him a much better matchup into a lot of the game's key battles. I'm gonna name him Charlotte after the pig from Charlotte's Web. So after demolishing our friends, and our room, calling CPS on Bianca's dad, getting the Pokedex from Professor Juniper, and being the second person in our mom's life to casually leave the house and never return, we're ready to begin our adventure. So as with most Pokemon games, the first route doesn't have anything crazy, just 2 options this time. I'd prefer Lillipup here, as its evolution line is just a lot stronger overall and has the potential to have Intimidate, which is a really great ability, son of a bitch. Well then, guess we're hunting rats today. I'm gonna name this gal Linguini after the rat from Ratatouille. With the rodent added to our party, the 24-hour clock started and I immediately hit the ground running.
I feel pretty confident in saying that the beginning phase of this run will be the most challenging. The rules of the card lock state that whenever I add a new Pokemon to my party, I have 24 hours to collect a rare card of it. Otherwise, I fail the encounter. Now the word party is key here. Later on in the run, when all 6 of my party slots are full, I can catch Pokemon as normally in a Nuzlocke and add them to my PC. But if one of my comrades bites the dust and I want to replace a slot, then the clock will start on whichever Pokemon I choose. If it sounds confusing, don't worry. It'll make a lot more sense as we go along. Now, one more quick rule I've added in the interest of not making things too easy is that I've set a strict budget limit of $200 for this entire challenge. And on top of that, any card I buy needs to be at least a Pokeball Reverse Holo or better. After all, there's not very much stakes here if regular old common cards from the chopping block.
So I hit the road and made it to hopefully our first stop, Addie's Games on Miramar Road here in San Diego. I went inside to look at the case and oh my god, this has to be one of the most depressing selections of singles I've seen in my entire life. Needless to say, it was a bust and I quickly moved on. Next up, just a mile down the road was Rips and Hits, who had an insane selection of singles all along the wall, including an entire section with exclusively Black Bolt and White Flare illustration rares. I immediately spotted the Pignite IR, which I thought about picking up right there on the spot, but I ended up deciding to hold off, just in case Charlotte meets an unfortunate early game demise. But it's good to know it's here when I end up needing it later. Then, I got to work perusing the rest of the wall of shiny cardboard when this happened. Yeah, I didn't notice this until editing back the footage, but I just completely missed this Patrat IR staring right at me. So yeah, I didn't buy it. Good going, bozo. I wasn't going to let my own failure stop me though. I asked the owner if they had any binders with Pokeball or Master Ball Reverse Holos, as I figured this would be my best shot at quickly finding a lot of the cards we'd need for this challenge. He pulled out a binder and I managed to come across a few cards of Pokemon that we are highly likely to encounter on the upcoming routes, including this Pansage, which we are guaranteed to get as our gift encounter at the Dream Yard in just a little bit, so this was a really big pickup. In the end, I bought these 3 Pokeball and Master Ball Reverse Holos for $5, which I felt was fair enough. But Gabe, you cry, why did you buy those? They're not Patrat cards.
Well, my beloved hypothetical viewer, let me explain. I'm employing a strategy I've decided to call pre-buying. Now, normally pre-buying can be risky, as I'd be spending my budget on a card that I might not end up even needing down the road. However, in a lot of the game's early routes, there is quite a bit of overlap in the Pokemon you can encounter. Because of this, it just makes sense for me to pick up these cards now, so I can save myself a trip back to the store later, especially when I can get them for a relatively cheap price. I've decided to allow this in the rules because 1, it adds a little bit of risk-reward factor to the hunting aspect of the challenge, and 2, it's my challenge, so I get to make the rules.
So overall, Rips and Hits was definitely a good stop that we'll be coming back to later, but since I was apparently too damn stupid to find the Patrat card here, I continued the hunt. Here we are at TC's Rockets. I looked through the cases and they had a pretty decent selection, including a couple of illustration rares we might need later on down the road. I perused through the binders and eventually found both the Patrat and Lillipup Pokeball reverses for just $2. This was huge! Now we pretty much had every possible Pokemon already collected for the next couple routes, which will save us a few trips back to the store. With Linguini's card now successfully added to our party binder, I stopped the 24-hour clock with about 22 hours to spare. Pretty good time. Now back to the game. Next, we take a brief pit stop in Accumulatown to heckle some protesters and battle an admittedly handsome weirdo who claims he can talk to our Pokemon. We curb stomp his kitten and head on our merry way to Route 2, where we catch this adorable little pup. A Lillipup, you could say. I'm gonna name him Beethoven after the dog from Air Bud. Since we happened to find our card for Lillipup while we were on a rat race earlier, we can go ahead and add him straight to our party. After that, we battle Bianca again because I guess she needs more than her dad to remind her she's not good enough, and head onwards to Strident City, the home of the first gym. Since we picked Tepig, we'll be fighting against Cress and his Panpour, which could give us some trouble, so to make things easier for us, we pop into the Dream Yard. This lady here just straight up gives you one of the elemental monkeys that has the advantage against the gym leader, so we add Pansage to our party as our encounter for the area. I'm gonna name him Man in the Yellow Hat, after the monkey from Curious George. Since I used my Mega Brain and grabbed this guy's card while we were on the hunt earlier, we can also go ahead and add him straight into the party binder. Once our team is at a respectable level, we head inside and get to business. Linguini and Beethoven make quick work of the two underpaid gym trainers, and before we know it, it's on to the main course. I hype myself up before the match and come up with a plan. I start with my strongest member, Charlotte, who I felt has the best shot against Cress's Lillipup. Charlotte fires off an Ember, which does a decent chunk, and Cress's Lillipup goes for a workup, which is pretty scary, especially since Charlotte's nature reduces his defense. I'm pretty sure I can take a crit even at full HP, so I go for another Ember, praying for a burn, which unfortunately doesn't materialize. Lillipup bites and takes a third of my health, so I go for one more Ember, but it's just short of a knockout. Charlotte gets bitten again, but the damage is enough to activate the Oran Berry I gave him before the match. We're still in this, just one more hit.
Oh, that's bullshit!
Lillipup's pickup ability activates and he steals my berry for himself, taking him out of knockout range without a lucky critical hit. I go for one more Ember to get him back in the red, but the following bite puts Charlotte in danger of death next turn. So, Cress and I both bitch out and use a potion, turning this match into a war of attrition. We trade blows back and forth until both of our Pokemon are on death's edge. I'm forced to switch into Man in the Yellow Hat right as my recording decides to freeze up as I send Cress's dog to the kill shelter. Then, I learned for the first of many times in this playthrough just how pathetically weak of a Pokemon Pansage is.
That's it? Oh no!
But, lucky for us, Panpour also sucks, so we get to take it out and get our first badge.
Let's go! You ain't shit, Cress.
Which means it's time to open a wildcard pack. And we get absolutely nothing.
Remember, the card has to be at least a Pokeball Reverse Holo or better to be added to the party, so hopefully the next pack will give us something we can actually use.
With badge 1 in hand, it was time to continue our journey. We take another quick trip to the Dream Yard to watch Pokemon Right activists beat a baby, then we kill them, pretend to be Bianca's friend again, and finally move on to Route 3 for our next encounter. So Route 3 has 2 new Pokemon for us to catch, Blitzel and Pidove. Thankfully, we run into Blitzel, saving us from adding a third normal type to our team. I catch her and decide to name her Gloria after the zebra from Madagascar. And you know the drill by now. I start the clock and head out the door.
Now, I was really excited to encounter Blitzel for a few reasons. First, of the 3 options we had, it is by far the best and the earliest option we have to a decent special attacker. And second, Blitzel has a beautiful illustration rare from Paradox Rift that I would love to get my hands on, which I remembered seeing in the case at Rips and Hits last time we were there. So that's where I headed first.
And right off the bat, I spot the Blitzel. Before I check out, I look around at the rest of the case and spot a Watchog, which we'll also be needing soon. I also see, however, that the Pignite from yesterday is gone. And now I'm really kicking myself for not grabbing it when I had the chance.
This right here is where the unique challenge of the card lock comes from. I have to work within my budget, so I can't just buy everything I think I'll need, because if one of my Pokemon dies before I even get a chance to evolve it, then that's money wasted. But at the same time, I can't evolve unless I already have the card of the evolution, and in the case of the next gym, having Pignite's fighting type moves will be critical to success.
Now, not all hope is lost. I asked to take a look through the binder, and while I still don't find Pignite, I do find a Master Ball, Herdier, and Substrika. Since these are just a couple of dollars each and I don't want to deal with the pig night situation again, I picked these up too. But as I start to head to the checkout counter, I have an idea.
My next encounter will be in the Wellspring Cave, which has 3 potential Pokemon I can run into: Roggenrola, Woobat, and Drillbur. Roggenrola and Woobat have an even 50-50 chance of spawning. So what about Drillbur? Well, in Gen 5, there's a mechanic in caves called dust clouds. Basically, if you walk around for a little bit, a dust cloud will have a chance of spawning, and if you walk in, you'll encounter a Pokemon. And in this case, that will be Drillbur 100% of the time. Drillbur is by far the best of these 3 options, especially when you consider that Roggenrola can't even fully evolve, because you need to trade for it to reach its final evolution. So, in theory, if I were to spray on a repel inside of the Wellspring Cave, I could run around back and forth until a dust cloud spawned, guaranteeing a Drillbur encounter. With this plan in mind, it's a no-brainer to pick up this Drillbur illustration rare now, so I can save myself a trip back to the store in 30 minutes when I go home to catch it. So, I add it to my pile. I check out and stop the clock. $25 poorer, but 5 cards richer. Let's keep playing.
Team Plasma liberates some little kids' Pokemon, so Sharon and I follow them to the cave and stop them. After liberating Team Plasma's own Pokemon from life, it's time for us to catch this Drillbur. I spray on a repel and do a light jog until...
No! No, why did it... Oh!
So because I'm a big dumb moron, I crucially forgot that repel only stops you from encountering Pokemon that are a lower level than your party lead. This honestly felt really devastating, so much so that I was even considering just running and skipping this encounter altogether. However, after remembering that we did start with a Boulder illustration rare as one of our wild cards from the beginning, I ended up deciding to catch him, hoping he'd at least be useful as a defensive pivot later on. After almost losing 2 Pokemon,
Oh my god!
I finally catch him and name him Drillbur after the Drillbur I wish he was instead. So, I started the clock, but since it was rush hour traffic and I was still coping with the idea that I had to use this Pebble on my team, I called it quits for the day and waited until tomorrow to go on the hunt. Drillbur was in my dreams last night. We laughed. We cried. We loved. He evolved into Excadrill, and we were an unstoppable duo. And then my alarm went off, and I was brutally pulled back into the crushing reality that I have about 8 hours left to find a rare Roggenrola card. Let's get this show on the road.
Today, I have 2 objectives. Firstly, I need to find a Roggenrola card in about, let me check the time again, 4 hours. Yeah, it took a long time getting ready this morning and working out. Oh well. On top of that, we really need to find a Pig Knight card soon because having a fighting type on our team is gonna really help us out with the next gym. Today, I decided to start off at Tubby's TCG in La Mesa as they were closed last time I was in the area.
The case had a few Unova Pokemon, but no rock or pig, so I went across the street to Supreme Collectibles, who always has a pretty decent selection. As I'm looking through the case, I spot a Pig Knight, but it's not actually a Pig Knight card. It's just a cameo on the Hilda SIR. Now, this obviously doesn't count, but even if it did, we are way too early in the challenge to be dropping $65 on a random middle stage evolution, so I moved on to look through the binders, which were also unfortunately dry today. I thought about cutting my losses and heading back up north, but I wanted to try and make the most out of my trip down here, so I decided to give a store I haven't been to in years a try. Comics and Stuff is a big comic store chain here in San Diego. These things usually populate lifeless shopping malls and have all kinds of nerdy stuff, including Pokemon cards. There's actually 2 here in the El Cajon area, so we can hit up both before circling back to base. This first one looks really old, but has some pretty sweet art on the outside. The inside is way bigger than I thought it was going to be, and they did have a lot of sealed product, but looking in the case, yeah, this is not gonna work. So I hightail it out of there over to the Parkway Plaza Mall, which has another Comics and Stuff right by the entrance. And man, it was kind of dark and depressing in there, and there was quite literally only one employee in there, and it was really awkward, so I didn't get great footage. I'm sorry, sue me and my social anxiety. Anyway,
I asked the sole employee if they had any Pokemon cards, and he responded by dropping a giant dusty 3-ring binder on the counter. Just like the last store, this selection really wasn't anything to write home about. Just mainly a bunch of modern reverse hollows. Was this all just a waste? Was I doomed to just run out of time and lose my rock forever? I'm trying to be dramatic here, it's not working. Screw it, just roll the clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe it. That's a hollow, so that counts.
Yeah, so apparently I stumbled upon the most valuable Roggenrola card, which I didn't even know existed. This came from some random blister pack back in the day, and I actually got a pretty good deal on it because market was $7 and I paid $3. So yeah, never thought I'd be saying this, but thanks, comics and stuff. With my mission partially accomplished, it was now back to the gamer den to game.
So with Drillbur the Roggenrola officially on the team, I begrudgingly slog through the rest of the week pathetic trainers on Route 3 and enter Nakarine City, which I immediately leave to go back to Route 3 to begin slaughtering the local Audino population because we are still a bit underleveled for the next gym. And after a little while, Beethoven evolves into Herdier, which we can also evolve in our party binder thanks to the Master Ball reverse we picked up the other day.
So our Pokemon are approaching the levels I need them to be at to confidently take on Lenora and her normal types. However, we still have one big Pignite-sized hole in our team. Charlotte is currently sitting at level 15 because I can't evolve him until I've collected a Pignite card. Without Arm Thrust, this next battle is going to be a lot more difficult, so I need to go back on the hunt before I can finish my training and take on the gym. The good thing is that tomorrow is Friday, which means we can check out the Cultured Vibe Expo, which is a spot at the North County Mall that has a ton of Pokemon card vendors.
So, the next day I hit the road and headed to Escondido, and as I'm pulling in, I see something that gives me a good feeling about this place. They named the street the mall is on after our dog. That's gotta be a good sign. Inside, there are tons of vendors, so I start perusing all of their selections. Places like this are always dangerous for me because everywhere I turn, I'm faced with all sorts of pricey temptations to add to my personal collection, but I gotta stay focused. I'm here for one thing and one thing only, my fat sumo wrestling fire pig. As expected, I find plenty of Black Bolt and White Flare IRs in pretty much every case I look at. However, since I'm not on the clock, I'm only allowed to buy evolutions for Pokemon I already have right now. I do spot a Simisage in one vendor's binder, but it's in Japanese, and I'm only collecting English for this challenge, otherwise this would be too easy. Just as I'm beginning to lose hope, I pop into one space and see something I was really not expecting to find. A hollow Pignite from an old McDonald's Happy Meal. For just $4 too! I was honestly fully prepared to be walking out of here with the illustration rare today, which is double the price, so this was a really great pickup. With our pig acquired, I kept looking around the rest of the vendors, mainly to do some scouting for anything we might want to come back for in the future, and there's definitely lots of options here, which is good to know. Just as I'm heading out, I see that one of the last vendors has the Simisage IR that we saw earlier, but this time in English. Now I can't evolve Man in Yellow Hat until I reach Castelia City and get a Leaf Stone from an NPC there, but considering I don't think he'll be much use in the next few battles, I have a good feeling he'll survive until then, so I decide to pick it up for $7.50 and save us a trip later. Plus, I really like this art a lot. On my way back to the car, I decide to take a quick stop at the mall's dedicated TCG store, Jinkies Co., just for a quick peek, and that's when I see this. The Emboar illustration rare, and the only one I've seen today too. Immediately, I'm reminded of the first day of this challenge when I passed on the Pignite card and caused this whole headache in the first place. This is the only Emboar I've seen in this entire challenge too. Should I pick it up now, even though Charlotte needs to survive 20 more levels even to reach the next stage?
It's a tough call, but I end up deciding to hold off again. This card is currently going for about $30, which would make it by far the most expensive single card purchase of the card lock yet. And it's just way too early to be taking such a big risk with our budget like that. So I head home, hoping that I didn't just make the same mistake again.
Once I'm back, it's back to my Audino killing spree. Charlotte evolves into Pignite and learns Arm Thrust, and then I train everyone else up to level 18, one level below Lenora's Watchog. I make a beeline for the gym when we're stopped by N, who once again tries to indoctrinate us into his cult. Instead of drinking the Kool-Aid, we start fighting him. And it seems we actually did kill his Purloin last time because it's nowhere to be found here. We kill his new Pokemon with relative ease, but before he leaves, he asks me out on a date at a Ferris wheel in Nimbasa City. How romantic. Anyway, let's get back to our regularly scheduled gym battle.
Let's do this.
I lead with Beethoven to get an Intimidate drop of my own, and then switch to Charlotte to take out the Herdier with a couple of Arm Thrusts and a Water Break.
Easy.
Next, I immediately switch to Drillbur to tank the Retaliate, which never comes, because Watchog goes for Hypnosis instead. This would have been really bad had I not given my rock a Chesto Berry. He immediately wakes up, only to get put to sleep again. This Watchog is really annoying. I pivot to Charlotte, and Watchog hits Hypnosis for the third time in a row. I try to burn a turn of sleep and tank a base power Retaliate that does way more damage than I was expecting.
Holy shit.
It's time to change my strategy. I start swapping Beethoven in and out of battle to keep up Intimidates. Next, I switch back to Drillbear, who pathetically shoots 2 pebbles at Watchog. This is not gonna cut it. Before I switch him out though, I go for a single Mud Slap to get a cheeky accuracy drop. Then, I bring out Beethoven one more time, putting Lenore's rat at -3 attack.
-3 in there? Dude, Beethoven is so clutch for this.
I get a workup off and then crit with a bite, putting Watchog in the red.
Holy sh**, the crit?
Lenora heals, so I bite one more time. On the next turn, Watchog misses Retaliate due to the accuracy drop, and we get off another bite, putting the rodent back in KO range. Finally, victory is mine.
So annoying.
Is what I would say if this stupid rat didn't somehow hit a Hypnosis again! Hypnosis only has a 60% chance to hit, and that's before the accuracy drop from Mud Slap. So despite Beethoven being the absolute MVP of this battle, he's gonna have to let Gloria take the kill, getting us the basic badge.
Woo. Okay. That was not as clean as I wanted it to go, but we did it. Okay. You wanna win Smog? Bro.
Well, that certainly didn't go according to plan, but hey, we won, so who cares? Time for another wildcard pack. And this time, we actually got not 1, but 2 hits. A Pokeball Solosis, which is unobtainable in Black version, and a Genesect, which is a mythical Pokemon that you can only get from events. So, nothing we can actually use. But what the hell, I'll toss these into the giveaway, so make sure you subscribe. Immediately after the battle, Team Plasma is back on their domestic terrorism kick, so I followed them into the Pinwheel Forest, which means it's time for another encounter. And we have a big choice to make here. The Pokemon found in the grass outside the forest are different from the ones you find inside, so this choice comes down to which area has better options. The interior pretty much just has grass and bug Pokemon. We already have a grass Pokemon on our team, and bug types suck, so that makes this decision pretty easy. Outside, I'm hoping for a Tympole encounter here, because its later evolutions are also ground type, which gives it some pretty incredible coverage. I really need to learn to just shut my stupid mouth, don't I? Well, we caught P-Dove, which is at least okay since we don't have any flying types yet. I named him Chicken Little after the main character from Freebirds. Since our party is full, he gets sent straight to the box, so we can keep on playing. Linguini reaches level 19 and evolves into Watchog, which I evolve in our party binder as well, thanks to the illustration rare we picked up earlier. Then, we power through the rest of the forest and retrieve the stolen loot from Team Plasma, and make our way to the Big Apple of the United States of Unova, Castelia City. I did all of the city's hottest tourist attractions, such as walking into an office high-rise and beating up every single employee in the building, getting flashed by a dumpster in a sketchy alleyway, and being served a drink in a speakeasy as a minor. We also get a Leaf Stone, which we can use to evolve Man in Yellow Hat into Semi-Sage now that he knows Seed Bomb, and, can actually start doing damage. Bianca comes over to us and is hysterical about her dumb Pokemon getting stolen by Team Plasma, so we begrudgingly agree to help her get it back. I didn't really want to, but the game kind of forces you. After mashing A bit, we fix that non-issue, which means we can now take on Berg at the 3rd gym. This is one of the most challenging battles in the entire game. Berg's team has some very scary bug Pokemon like Whirlipede, Dwebble, and Leaveney, so I need to be... Okay, who am I kidding? Charlotte and Drillbur easily solo this gym without a hitch, getting us the Insect Badge and another wildcard pack. And this time we get a Larvesta illustration rare. We actually have a way to get Larvesta later on, so this is actually our first usable wildcard pack so far. Hooray! With our 3rd badge in hand, we set out through the desert of Route 4. Here, we catch a Sandile, who I named Tiana after the crocodile character from Princess and the Frog. Since our party is full, she'll hopefully remain chilling in our PC for a good while. I decided to spend some quality time with Beethoven since I want to boost our friendship together. He's such a cute, reliable little guy. He gets bite flinches when I need him to, he avoids attacks when I need him to, he even crits when I need him to. I'm honestly surprised to say this because I've never been a huge fan of the Lillipup line before, but Beethoven has easily become my favorite member of the team. And with our friendship growing stronger and stronger with every step we take, he's gonna be unstoppable once we get the return TM in Nabasa City, which is just up ahead. But before we do that, I decide to pop into the Desert Resort so we can get one more encounter and battle a few more trainers. We end up catching Dwebble, which is fine. I'm just happy it wasn't Maractus, I guess. From there, it was more dad and doggy time, as me and Beethoven cleared out every trainer left in the dunes before seeking refuge and another potential encounter inside the Rillick Castle. But before we run into anything, we're challenged by Psychic Parry with this weird-looking bird thing. Beethoven starts crunching, doing a hefty amount of damage, and takes the air cutter like a champ. Just one more of these and...
No! Oh my god!
Our dog was dead.
Oh my god!
If you don't know, air cutter is one of those moves that has a high critical hit ratio, which I was not keeping in mind.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I won't sugarcoat it. This was devastating. Beethoven had quickly become one of my favorite team members and was probably the best Pokemon on our team.
Dude. It's my favorite.
Now, he was dead, right before one of the most difficult gym leaders in the entire game.
Dude, my dog died.
This was a really tough one for me.
Okay, Beethoven. Here we go. Oh! This is pure torture. So shred means that the card's going in the shredder. He's going to be shredded into pieces. Our dog. So here's our shredder. It's got lots of cute stickers on it, because normally you're shredding junk mail that nobody likes, and not your dog. Goodbye, Beethoven. You were a good dog. Oh, God. Oh! Oh! Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick. Oh! Oh. Oh, he's like mixed in with a bunch of other paper that was stuck in the top.
Don't ever do this challenge. Why did I do this? Okay, alright, well, we gotta keep playing.
After the funeral, I took a walk to clear my head. It was hard to shake the loss. If Beethoven was real, then I would have walked him in a park just like this one. But instead, I looked to the sky. Wherever he was, I hoped he was watching over us.
With our dead dog, well, diced into 1,000 pieces, we have a spot to fill in our party. And if there's any silver lining in this, it's that Beethoven's demise gave us the space we needed to add Tiana to the roster. She's a ground type, which will give us a much needed edge against Alicia. And she even has Intimidate, so we won't be missing out on that crucial ability. But you know the drill. With Tiana added to our party, the 24-hour clock started once again. We need to find a Sandile card, or this next gym battle is going to be a lot more difficult. But since it was already past 8 PM and all the card shops around me were closed, I'd have to wait until tomorrow to actually start the hunt. Meaning we'd be down more than half of our time. I wasn't really setting myself up for success.
What's up, everyone? It's 8:31 on Monday, October 13th. And as you can see, we have about 11 hours and 40 minutes to find a Sandile card today.
So after another late start, I hit the gym, then hit the road to hit up Rips and Hits.
We're back.
And just like last time, I made a beeline for their wall of Black Bolt and White Flare illustrations, which unfortunately didn't have what we were looking for today. After searching through the binders, I declared it a bust and moved onward. When looking through old footage, I spotted a couple of Sandile IRs in the binders over at Supreme Collectibles last time we were there, so that was where I decided to head next. This spot has a really impressive supply, so if there's any place I'd find the Sandile, it would be here. Except, it wasn't. Someone must have bought them up over the last couple days. However, I did spot one card that hopefully would mean this trip wasn't a total loss.
so I may have made a mistake. But I couldn't find the Sandile, which is really frustrating because I definitely saw it there like last week, so someone picked it up in that time. I did find Rock though, so I'm really putting my eggs in this basket here. I have a couple more stores I can go to today, so hopefully we find that Sandile, otherwise I just wasted $8, but we'll see what happens.
Next, I decided to look at a new store we haven't been to yet, Stacked Packs, which is in the same mall as the comics and stuff that we found Rock'n'Rolla last time. And this ghost town of a mall must be lucky because after a couple of seconds of scanning the case, I found exactly what I was looking for. The Sandile IR from Black Bolt, which was $10. Certainly the most expensive purchase of the card lock so far, but we were still well within our budget, so I wasn't too worried about it just yet. With Tiana now officially on our team, we set our sights on the 4th gym, but not before stupid Bianca in the game desperately tries to convince us that Pokemon musicals are a suitable replacement for contests. Bianca's dad shows up after the CPS charges from earlier didn't stick, and we just kind of stand there awkwardly as this domestic dispute plays out in front of us. After that's finally settled, we head to Route 16 for another encounter.
So it looks like we got Liepard, Trubbish, Minccino, and Gothita. I mean, honestly, all I really want is Gothita here. But we'll see what happens. Of course. Trubbish. Probably the last thing I wanted, but oh well.
I named this pile of trash Scalper after Pokemon Scalpers because they're greasy, smelly, and stinky, just like trash. After that, it's back to our regularly scheduled Audino population control efforts, and after about 25 minutes, Drillbur evolves into Boldore, Gloria evolves into Zebstrika, and the rest of our team is ready to take on the gym. But first, it's finally time for our cute day with N, so we meet him at the fair. We have a really romantic talk on the Ferris wheel, but right before we kiss, he casually tells me that he's the leader of a terrorist organization plotting to overthrow the entire world, and it just totally kills the mood. I try to casually end the date there by telling N that I have a tummy ache, but he sees right through me and challenges me to a battle. Man in Yellow Hat obliterates his Sandile with the bomb, and Drillbur dispatches Darumaka. Scraggy gives us a little bit of trouble, but eventually Charlotte is able to take it out with a well-timed thrust. Everything seems to be going really well until N makes things personal. In an instant, memories of Beethoven fuel me and my team with rage. N is harboring a killer on his team, and it's my mission to make this battle against Sigilith different. Charlotte has absolutely no business fighting this flying puppy killer, so I instantly make the pivot to Drillbur, who has increased defenses thanks to the Eviolite he's holding. Still, since he already took a little bit of damage early in the fight, I need to heal up before I can start getting a revenge. I go for a smackdown, which almost kills the creature in one hit, but once again, I'm forced to heal since Drillbur is in crit range. After one more attack, the demon is slain, and I can feel Beethoven's spirit happily barking up at us from dog heaven. Despite the loss, N tries to shoot his shot once more and steps in close for a kiss. I'm not quite ready for that yet though, so he just ends up leaving awkwardly. I have a strange feeling about the encounter. On one hand, being the leader of a terrorist organization is usually a pretty big red flag, but I have to admit, the man certainly has confidence. Anyway, after that, I heal up at the Pokemon Center and enter the 4th gym. And this one can be tricky. Alicia's strategy revolves around spamming Volt Switch over and over again, which normally is really difficult to deal with if it weren't for Drillbur, who can just smack down everything out of the sky. After a couple of lemonade breaks, eventually Alicia sends out her Zebstrika, which admittedly gives me a bit of a scare.
That Zebstrika is at 50. Oh, Jesus Christ!
I heal up again since I can't switch out without being killed by Emolga's pursuit, but it opts for Volt Switch instead, again bringing out Zebstrika. This is starting to get old. Luckily, I already know we can take a crit from this range.
Oh! 2 in a row! Oh, Drillbur! You don't even have Sturdy, but you staying in!
Even without Sturdy, Drillbur hangs on for dear life and keeps us from near tragedy. With the second of the Emolgas defeated, I bring in Tiana to finish the job, who gets a KO with a dig, netting us the 4th badge.
Let's go! Oh my god, Drillper's the f***ing MVP for taking that hit. That was insane.
Let's rip a wildcard pack. This time we get a Pokeball Tranquil, which is something we realistically might be able to use for once. Finally! With our new shiny badge in our possession, it's time to head to the next city. Before we can even think about grabbing another garbage encounter, this random nerd kid stops us and wants to fight. We take him out with ease, and he gets really sad, so to help him boost his spirits, I help him beat up a couple of toddlers in the parking lot. After a bunch of story mumbo-jumbo, we can finally get our encounter for the area. After defeating the rest of the trainers, I'm finally able to cross Driftrail Drawbridge, where we catch a ducklet. I name her Minnie after Donald Duck's girlfriend, and then we continue into Driftrail where... Hold on, I gotta take a dance break here. After that, I make sure to take care of Driftrail's Audino infestation, which allows Tiana to reach level 29 and evolve into Krokorok. With everyone at the level cap, I make my plan. Clay is actually one of the most difficult fights in the game, since his Excadrill can set up with Hone Claws and easily wipe you if you don't have a solid answer. Luckily, I'm not here to monkey around. Actually, that's exactly what I'm here to do. Man in Yellow Hat is holding the Expert Belt, which boosts the damage of super effective moves by 20%. Seed Bomb already does big damage, but he also knows Grass Knot, which is a special move that won't be affected by Sandale or Krokorok's Intimidate. This combination is enough to one-shot every single trainer in the gym without taking any damage. I don't even need to go back to the Pokemon Center to heal before taking on Clay, so I do my usual warm-up and dive straight into the fight. Since Clay's Krokorok has Moxie instead of Intimidate, I'm free to just start dropping bombs. The Croc falls, and Clay is forced to bring in his Excadrill early since his Palpitoad with its 4x grass weakness won't do shit to my monkey. The Excadrill is still a serious threat that under normal circumstances would warrant a switch, but I planned for this. I taught Man in Yellow Hat Dig, and since he's even faster than Clay's Mole, he gets underground and avoids a Rock Slide. On the next turn, Dig connects and deals over 50%. Excadrill responds with a Bulldoze, which crits for big damage despite our resistance, and lowers our speed. I'm forced to heal until I can bait a miss. Not very honorable, I know, but we gotta get the dub. Eventually, Rock Slide whips, which allows us to safely dig underground once again. Once we're back up, the drill goes down, and this battle is essentially over. One Seed Bomb and Palpitoad dies, getting us the 5th badge. And all it took was one broccoli-headed monkey and a couple of lemonades. Our wildcard pack this time nets us a Servine Master Ball Reverse that will never see any use. I'm starting to think this idea sounded better in my head, but oh well. It gives me an excuse to satiate my pack opening addiction at least. It's off to Mistralton now, but before we can hit the road, Bianca shows up again! Because I guess she just can't take a damn hint that she's annoying and we don't want to talk to her. After annihilating her team, we make her apologize to us by taking her HM for Fly, something completely useless to us right now. We power through all of Route 6 and head into Shardstone Cave. Immediately upon entering, N tries to clear the air after our last awkward encounter. Maybe it's just the atmosphere, but sparks are flying between us. Literally. Before we can keep flirting, he wanders off, playing hard to get once again. Then we plow through everyone else, including this ace trainer that I think ends up having a mental breakdown.
I see. What the f***?
Once we make it to the end, things between Ed and I really start to heat up, and we battle. Unfortunately for him, all his Pokemon kinda suck, so we win this one easy peasy. I'm a bit worried that me continuously killing his Pokemon is a turnoff, but he keeps talking to me, so maybe he's into that sort of thing, I don't know. We exit the cave and reach Mistralton. Before I can take on the gym, I have to run a couple of errands. So I head to Route 7, catch a dealing that I named Thumper after the deer from Bambi, and eviscerate all the trainers in my path to the Celestial Tower. On my way up, I catch a Litwick, which I named Cogsworth after the candle from Beauty and the Beast. Once I reach the top, Skyla reminds me to remind you to subscribe and ding that bell. Thanks, Skyla. I hightail it back to the gym and then hype myself up before I dive into Skyla. Gloria is holding a magnet, so I press A, press A again, and press A one more time, netting us the Jet Badge. Well, that was the easiest gym of the entire run. Instead of playing hard to get, N changes his approach into just pure stalker mode and surprises me outside of the gym. Okay, so this stalking thing, along with him being a secret leader of a terrorist organization, is actually starting to be a little much now, I'm not gonna lie. I politely tell N that I'm no longer interested, and he runs off crying, so I think he took it pretty well. Next up is the 7th gym, which should be a piece of cake once Charlotte evolves into Embor in 1 level. Looks like I can't put this off any longer. Before we can keep going, I need to go on a hunt for an Embor and a Crocodile card. So I headed back to the Culture Vibe Expo where we found the Pignite and Semisage last time. It doesn't take long to spot a Crocodile illustration rare in one of the vendor's cases, but at $32, it's pretty expensive. So I opted to keep looking around for a better option before pulling the trigger on that. Over at another stand, I found a binder with a bunch of Pokeball and Match Ball reverses, but nothing we're looking for right now. Eventually, after asking a few other vendors, I'm presented with this. The shiny Embor secret rare from Next Destinies. This would be a really sick card to add to our collection if it wasn't $75. Sure, we had enough for it in our budget to cover it, but it's still way too much to spend on one card. If we run out of money, it could really end up biting us later, especially since we have some of the game's hardest fights ahead of us. With that being said, if we can't find anything else today, we might just have to bite the bullet. So I may end up circling back here later. I continued looking around some of the other booths, and after flipping through a bunch of random bulk binders, I found this Crocodile Holo Rare from Sun and Moon base set for $3. So that solves our croc problem, but what about our pig? Well, other than the really expensive shiny we saw earlier, Charlotte's final evolution was nowhere to be seen in the expo. But that doesn't mean we were out of luck. We still hadn't checked out Jinkies Co., which had the Embor IR last time we were here. But that was almost 2 weeks ago now, so I don't want to get my hopes up. As I walk down the mall, I'm filled with worry. Did I make the same mistake twice? Should I have just copped the card back then? If it's not here, then our only option is to fork out $75 for this shiny secret rare back at Culture Vibe, or just to not let Charlotte reach his final evolution. Neither option is ideal. I walk in the doors and scan the case, and immediately, my heart starts to sink. It's nowhere to be seen.
I don't think it's here, man.
I'm just about ready to head back to Culture Vibe when I spot it, tucked away at the very bottom of the case.
Let's go. Okay, we found it.
Somehow, after nearly 2 weeks, it's still here! At $32, this is by far the most expensive purchase of the entire run, but hey, it's better than the $75 I would have had to fork out on the other one. And besides, this artwork is so damn cool. I really hope I don't have to destroy this beauty. So with the last of the evolutions we needed for our team acquired, I was finally ready to continue into the late game. I defeat Sharon in a battle on Route 7, whose pathetic performance is enough to make Alder jump off a cliff and kill himself. Then we're free to enter Twist Mountain, where I finally correct my mistakes from the start of the run and spray on a repel so I can guarantee a Drillbur encounter. I name him Roggenrola after the Roggenrola that took his spot earlier in the game. I know we didn't start out on the best of terms, but honestly, Drillbur, and I'm talking about the Boldor now, has actually been a really strong member of the team, especially with the Eviolite he's holding. After a few more battles, Charlotte reaches level 36 and evolves into Embor. And after a couple of dicey fights, we exit the mountain into Icarus City. There's puddles on the ground here that, to my surprise, have Pokemon in them, so I accidentally encountered a Palpitoad, which I named Gonzo after the Frog Muppet. After training against the trainers on Route 8, I head for the gym. I do my little pre-battle routine, then challenge Bryson. Thanks to Charlotte and Drillbur, this battle is mostly a breeze. Or at least it should have been. Charlotte one-shots Vanillish with Flame Charge, causing Bryson to send out his ace, Beartic. And here's where things get wonky. Bryson's Beartic knows Brine, which can hit Charlotte for super effective damage. Now, the whole thing with Brine is that its power is doubled if the target is below 50% HP. It's normally not a very good move, and in this instance shouldn't really be much cause for concern, especially since Charlotte outspeeds Beartic. We should be good to just Brick Break twice and kill the bear. Simple. However, since I'm a big moron, I misunderstood how Brine worked.
I thought its power would double if the user was at low HP.
This blatant mistake caused me to make some very stupid decisions that made this battle a lot more difficult than it needed to be. So, I alter my strategy to chip away at Beartic's HP until it's in range where I'm sure I can KO it with a Brick Break, which means I use Assurance.
I'm gonna hit with Assurance. Get him in range. Okay, that did nothing. Okay, maybe I'm trolling a little bit. I think I'm actually kind of trolling.
Not wanting to have my starter accidentally kill himself, I switch to Drillbur, who is also weak to Brine. Thankfully, this is when I decide to reread how the move works. Hopefully not too late to pull myself out of this mess I needlessly made.
Oh, okay. Target doubles when the target is at. Okay. So actually, see, I'm actually throwing the whole game right now.
So I bring Charlotte back in, who takes the brine with ease. I brick break, and it just barely misses the range. Bryson and I both heal, and I go for the flame charge. And since Bryson doesn't swagger me, I'm free to run away with the paddle, taking out Beartick with one more charge, and then Okoing Cryogonal with a brick break.
My bad. I made that way harder than it needed to be.
Yes, you did, dummy.
Dude, there's an EX behind there too.
With the 7th badge added to our collection, we can head north to Dragon Spiral Tower, where I almost get Tiana killed.
Wait, oh, fuck. I just killed him. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. I forgot he was confused. Oh, that was almost so bad.
But after that near-death experience, she evolves into Crocodile. Nice. We make it to the top, where it seems N didn't take us turning him down earlier very well, because he decides to summon a legendary dragon to take over the world. Maybe I should have given him another chance. N says that the only way I'd ever have a shot at being his boyfriend now is if I get a legendary dragon of my own. So I hightail it back to Nacrane City to grab a rock, then fly back to Icarus so I can make my way to the final gym. Right as I'm about to cross the bridge into Opelucid City, I hear a familiar grating voice behind me. It's Bianca, but something's different. There's a fiery determination in her eyes that I've never seen before. I don't know if I should really be taking her threat against me and my team's lives seriously, because this is Bianca after all, but what the hell. I'm in the mood to entertain her sudden surge of ambition. If blind hatred is what it'll take to get an actual battle out of her, then so be it. She still only has 4 Pokemon, so I'm not too worried. Though I don't like the way her Stoutland is staring down Linguini, so I swap her out for Drillbur, who is much more prepared to take on her dog. Bianca's taunt pisses off Drillbur, who gets his revenge after a couple of rock slides. Just like Bianca, it seems her Statland is all bark and no bite. Superior comes out next. How predictable. Since the very beginning, Bianca's been fighting a losing war against my starter, and now it was finally time to end this snake once and for all. As I've done countless times, I bring in Charlotte to take it out. Superior gets a couple of coils off, but thanks to Heat Crash, I can... Oh. Well, maybe the snake weighs more than I thought. Let's just go for a flame charge here. Okay, well, it seems her snake got a lucky hit. Even though Charlotte could probably take one more slam, I don't want to risk it, so instead I opt to play around something I can always rely on. Bianca's inept battling skills. Since there's no way Bianca would use a grass-type move against my starter, I'm safe to switch in Tiana to get an Intimidate drop-off, and then bring back Charlotte.
Why would you use Leaf Blade? No! Why would you use Leaf Blade? It's not effective!
Wait. No, that's not possible, right? Bianca killed one of my Pokemon? No. I need to stay focused. Clearly, I underestimated her, but it won't happen again. I look through my party, weighing my options. Nothing on my team is faster than her snake, so I need something I'm sure can take a hit. Superior is still at +1 attack, which is scary, but I think that Manio Hat could tank a slam, and certainly a Leaf Blade because he resists, so I send him in next. He's holding the Miracle Seed, so a Seed Bomb might just be enough to do the job at this range.
Oh my god!
My monkey. No. What?
Oh my god, I might get wiped. I might actually get wiped right now.
I have a sinking feeling in my stomach. There's nothing on my team that can outspeed and kill Superior, let alone survive a hit. It's looking like Bianca, the harmless girl that I talked at every opportunity, is going to get her revenge and end my run. I was wrong to not take her threat seriously. No, but I'm not giving up just yet. Fighting back the dread, I stare at my injured party for what feels like hours, trying to figure out my way out of this. Eventually, I see the path, but it isn't without a cost. I need something that can survive a hit while dealing the remaining third of Superior's HP. Charlotte is the obvious candidate, especially since Bianca's snake is only at +1 attack now thanks to Tiana's final Intimidate. So as long as Slam doesn't crit, Charlotte with full HP can survive the attack and finish it off. The only problem is that Charlotte isn't at full HP, which means I need to sack somebody to get a heal off. Unfortunately, there really was only one Mon for the job. Out goes Drilber the Boldor. It feels like a cruel joke to be sending him to his death in this way. When he first joined the team, I hated him for what he wasn't, but it's only because of what he is that we were gonna live to fight another day. All it cost was everything. I say goodbye to my rock one last time.
I love you, buddy. Farewell.
Then press A.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god, this is a disaster. This is a fucking disaster.
Then Charlotte comes out, tanks the Leaf Blade, and sends the snake back to hell. The monster is slain, but half our team is dead and Bianca still has 2 more Pokemon. She sends out Simipour next, so needless to say, I get Charlotte the hell out of there. Gloria comes in and is able to one-shot it with a discharge, leaving Bianca's final Pokemon, Musharna. Linguini is able to get it down to the red when something happens that makes me realize just how lucky I am to still be alive. Bianca has had full restores this entire time. Why does this matter? By this point, the battle was pretty much already won. Well, it's the timing. If Man in Yellow Hat tanked the Leaf Blade and hit it with a Seed Bomb earlier, the damage would have put Superior in the red, which in turn would have caused Bianca to use her full restore. If that happened, I honestly don't think there's a way I would have been able to win. Superior was already at +2 defense at that point, and my only special attacker's moves were resisted. That's the beauty of the Nuzlocke right there. A tragic loss was actually an incredible sacrifice. Bianca goes down, kicking and screaming, dragging this match on as long as she possibly can. After it's over, we both just stare at each other in silence. I realized that, for the first time, I was too harsh on her. Had I been a better friend, had I looked out for her when she needed me, I wouldn't have turned her against me, and both of our Pokemon would still be alive. With a heavy heart and a lot to reflect on, I looked at the corpses of my fallen friends and got ready for what was next. Their death was unfortunately only just the beginning.
Well, here we are again. I'm not looking forward to this, especially considering that I have to spin this thing 3 times. But that's what you get for thinking that Bianca would not use a not very effective move against a Pokemon that would resist it. So anyway, I got the binder here. I'll be taking all these guys out. Tiana, Man in the Yellow Hat, and Drilber. As with what happened last time, regardless of whatever happens to these 3 cards here, the pre-evolutions will be in the giveaway at the end, so make sure to subscribe.
so you can give these poor guys a home. So these cards are safe, thank God. But on the chopping block here, we have Tiana, represented by the Holo Rare from Sun and Moon, the Semi-Sage illustration rare from Black Bolt. I actually really like this artwork. I really hope that we land on a lifeline for this one because it's really pretty. And then the Boldor illustration rare from White Flare. This was actually one of our wild cards from the very beginning of the challenge. Let's start with, we'll go in order of what we caught them in. So we'll start with Man in the Yellow Hat first. We'll spin for him. Please give me a lifeline, man. Oh! Lifeline. So this card is safe. It's going to the giveaway. We will not be destroying him. Thank God. Look at this artwork. Look at this artwork. That makes me so... It's a big relief. I'm gonna put him in the pile over here. Next up we got Drillbur, the Boldor. Again, would love for a lifeline here, but we'll see what happens. I think getting it once here is I'm happy enough with that. Obviously I'd like all three, but we'll see. Lifeline again! Okay, so this illustration rare Boldor is safe as well. Okay, Crocodile. Here we go. Tiana. Shred. Again. Oh, at least she's going to the same place that Beethoven did. Goodbye, Tiana. You were actually a really strong member. You probably were the strongest member of the team, actually, which really sucks to lose, considering the hardest battles in the entire game are coming up. You died to Bianca. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. Oh, I hate this part. Oh, it's not on. Whoops. Awkward. Goodbye. Goodbye. Oh! I hate how it pulls it out of your hands. Ugh.
So now what? Well, after looking through our truly pitiful options, I decided on these three Pokemon to replace our Fallen. First, Roggenroll the Drillbur, because Excadrill is probably one of the best Pokemon in the entire game. And I need to make up for my past mistakes and finally put that Drillbur illustration rare we bought all the way back at the beginning of this challenge to use. Second, Minnie the Ducklet, since a flying type will be good later on when we take on Marshall and the Elite Four, and Swanna gets access to some handy supporting moves like Tailwind. Finally, Gonzo the Palpitoad. Another water type might seem like a bad idea, but with dual ground typing, this frog will only be weak to grass, which isn't a common type for the rest of the game's key battles. So, with all three added to the team, it was time to embark on the most ambitious card hunt of the entire run. I need to find 3 Pokemon in 24 hours or risk losing what few viable options I have left to get me through the rest of the game. This is going to be tough, but I have faith. I start the clock and head out on my journey. As I said before, since we pre-bought the Drillbur card earlier in the run, we won't have to worry about losing that encounter. So the focus will be on finding Ducklet, Palpitoad, and all of the evolutions we need. So, for what feels like the 100th time on the run, I first head over to Rips and Hits to see what they got. And right off the bat, we find the Palpitoad illustration rare from Black Bolt, the Swanna from White Flare, and a full art Excadrill, all for just 15 bucks. Everything we needed but the Ducklet and Seismitoad. I looked through their binders, hoping to find a Pokeball or Master Ball, but no luck this time. Still, this was huge. Finding all but 2 of the cards we needed from one store is taking a lot of pressure off my shoulders. Shout out to these guys again, they really haven't let me down once this entire run. A couple hours pass, then I visit the Cultured Vibes Expo in search of the duck and one of the ugliest Pokemon ever created. I waste no time looking through binder after binder, case after case, but it seems that Ducklet and Seismitoad are nowhere to be found. I do spot this Reshiram full art for $3, which I decide to cop, as there's a pretty high chance we will end up using it in our final date with N. Other than that though, we are striking out at every corner. I'm beginning to feel reminded of the Emboar hunt here from the other day, because just like before, Jinkies Co. is my last hope of finding any of these cards. I scan the case, hoping to find an illustration rare, but to no avail. My last chance is in the binder, where hopefully one of the reverses will be hiding. As I get to the final pages, I pass by some baby shinies and find something I really wasn't expecting to see. The shiny ducklet from Shining Fates! For just $4 too! With all 3 of our Pokemon acquired, I can stop the 24-hour clock with 20 hours to spare. Even though the timer is stopped, I still need to find the Seismitoad card for Gonzo, otherwise he'd never get to evolve. So the next day after work, I headed to Supreme Collectibles, where this happened. Well, that is a Seismitoad alright, but a way too expensive one. We only have $78 left in our whole budget. So, as much as I would love to add this amazing artwork I've yapped about before onto my team, it's simply too much money. So, it remains in the case, taunting me as I continue on my hunt. Next, I head up to Ninja Exchange in Carlsbad for the first time in this challenge. This is another big floor of vendors with tons of Pokemon cards. If there's anywhere I'd be able to find a Seismic Toad, it would be here. Eventually, I stumble upon one vendor's binder full of more Pokeball and Master Ball reverses than I've ever seen, including the Seismitoad that I pick up for just $1. With our new party members fully collected and added to our binder, it's time to take on the most grueling gym in the entire game.
The 8th gym is interesting because you can make the argument that the gym trainers are actually a far bigger threat than Drayden himself. The reason being is because unlike Drayden, the gym trainers don't use Dragon Tail as their main attack, which is a negative priority move, effectively negating any speed increases they would have from Dragon Dance. Instead, almost every Pokemon in this gym is sporting Dragon Claw, which is much more threatening. So yeah, maybe Drayden needs to give a promotion to one of his employees because I'm way more scared of them. No one proves this point better than Ace Trainer Tom. His lead dino doesn't know Dragon Dance, but it does have Workup, which is equally scary. I go for an Air Slash with Minnie, hoping for a clutch flinch, which doesn't materialize. Thankfully, so long as this crunch doesn't crit, I should be fine.
Don't die. Oh my god, a crit! Okay, well, cool. Off to a great start.
So, Minnie the Swanna, after just her 3rd appearance in battle, mind you, is dead. I can't focus on that now, though. Tom still has 3 Pokemon left. Luckily, the Dino wasn't going to be a problem anymore, since Linguini easily outspeeds and kills it. But then Tom sends in Druddigan, who knows the move Revenge. Linguini can't stay in, and Roggenrola, who would normally be my switch-in this situation, can't take it either. So my best bet is Gonzo. His Bulldoze is honestly pitiful, but he tanks the Dragon Claw fairly well, which means unfortunately the best way out of this situation is to spam heal my Toad until Druddigan kills himself from Rocky Helmet damage. Probably the least honorable way I've knocked out a Pokemon in my life, but I'm not about to let another one of my new team members die so soon. Still, I don't feel good about doing this, so to make up for it, I'll toss in a booster pack to the giveaway's penance. Even with Druddigan down though, I'm still not out of the woods. Tom sends out a Fracture, whose rival ability means he's going to be doing 25% more damage to everyone on my team except Linguini, who's almost dead, and Gloria, who has no moves that can hit it for effective damage. After some thinking, I decide to send in Gloria despite this, who gets off a Thunder Wave, while the Fracture sets up another Dragon Dance. At this point, I'm not sure if anything on my team can survive crit Dragon Claw, so I decide that my best bet is to try and do everything I can to stop Fracture from ever getting an attack off again. The next step in this plan is to bring in Linguini and pray that she doesn't get hit.
Okay. Please, 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 please. Okay, you went for Dragon Hits again?
My prayer does come true, and Linguini survives the switch-in, but only because Fracture went for yet another Dragon Dance. At this point, if my plan here fails, then the run is almost certainly over, as Fracture will easily be able to wipe out the rest of my team. Well, there's no turning back now. This is it. Linguini outspeeds Fracture thanks to the paralysis and connects with the Confuse Ray. This double status combo meant that Fracture only has a 25% chance of getting off an attack. The odds are highly in my favor here. But heartbreakingly, it's still not enough.
Oh, I'm sorry, Linguini. I love you.
Our rat is dead. The first Pokemon we ever caught. The first card we ever hunted. She'd watched countless friends fall on our long journey to this moment,
and now she'd finally be joining them. Rest in peace, my sweet rodent.
Oh, dude, this is so sad. Everyone's dying. This gym is insane. This gym is fucking insane.
My best chance now is to bring in Roggenrola and spam rock slides, adding flinch chances on top of our other cocktail of negative status conditions we've served up to Fracture. Eventually, it's enough, and we finally escape the battle.
Oh. Dude, how am I gonna beat this gym? How in the God's name am I gonna beat this gym?
With 2 dead party members, I'm in no condition to take on Drayden, so I head for the exit, only to realize that there isn't one.
How do I get out of here? Oh, do not tell me that I'm stuck. Oh no, I have to battle her! I'm so fucked. I'm so fucked. This is not even funny.
Due to the way the gym puzzle works, I'm trapped, which means that I have to take on 2 more gym trainers with a third of my team in the grave before I can escape to a Pokemon Center. If I'm gonna survive this gauntlet, I will need to play these next battles perfectly. And I do just that. Leading Roggenrola both times, I'm able to boost my attack to +2 with the double Hone Claws, and then OHKO everything on both trainers' teams. With the path to Drayden accessed, we can now finally leave the gym to mourn our fallen comrades and regroup before taking on the leader.
This needs to stop happening, because I don't know if my heart can take anymore. I feel like we literally just buried Tiana and Manio Hat and Drillbird, and here we are again. I literally found her cards like 2 days ago, and she's dead already.
Here we go. Lifeline! Yes! Thank you! Oh, thank God. Okay, so Tiana's card is safe. She'll be in the giveaway, along with Patrat and Ducklet. We lost Linguini. This one's gonna hurt. I have a really bad feeling. I'm not very optimistic about getting Lifeline. We got it twice last time out of 3. I don't know if we can keep the luck streak going like that, but here we go. Smoothie. Oh. Okay, so if you don't know, Smoothie is what it sounds like. This card's gonna go in a blender. Hello, welcome to my kitchen. Hopefully this is the only time we'll ever come in here for this video. If you followed the channel before, you'd know this is actually not the first time that I've blended a Pokemon card. In my bulk cards video, I actually blended a bunch of energy cards as a gag. This is not an energy card, this is an illustration rare of a cool card, a cool Pokemon that has sentimental value to me now. And I'm destroying as an act of self-torture, essentially. So, there's no movie magic here. I'm dropping them in. And to make this a bit more of like a milkshake, I guess, I'm gonna put some milk and ice cream in here. So, here we go. And that's how you go from near mint to damaged in half a second. Next up we got some cookie dough ice cream. I'm not gonna use that much of the ice cream because I actually like eating this ice cream. I'm not wasting it on stupid jokes, but there you go. Okay. And just, you know, add a little bit of spice flavor. Got some energies as well, just to make things a bit nicer here. What a cruel fate. Goodbye, Linguini. I love you. Sorry, I guess. Okay, well, who wants a sip of that? Linguini milkshake. Let me see if I can find a piece of him.
Hey guys, do you think this is worth grading?
Okay, I'm making too many jokes. I'm in pain. This is how I deal with it. Also, with ice cream. Rest in peace.
I feel like I'm having deja vu. looking through our PC, our options are, well, pretty freaking bad. I decided to go Chicken Little to P-Dove since he has super luck, so we can give him the scope lens and just try and crit everything with Air Cutter. And we've been sitting on this P-Dove card since our very first hunt, and we got a Pokeball Tranquil from one of our wildcard packs, so we pretty much only need to find an Unpheasant to get this guy on the team. Our second newest member is Scalper the Trubbish. He'll serve as a Toxic Staller, I guess. Not really the best, but it's what we got. So, just as quickly as we finished the last hunt, we were back. The clock starts, and I head straight to my usual stop, Rips and Hits. Would they have everything I needed? Is the sky blue? All three in one stop for 30 bucks.
And I'm stopping the clock because we already have a P-Dove card.
So with these new soldiers in the party binder, we can take on the gym. Is what I would have said if I was a big idiot. After so many losses in quick succession, I realized that I need to take things way more seriously if I'm gonna beat this game. On top of that, with all their dead, there's no one standing in N's way of taking over the Pokemon League, so it's up to me and my team to stop him, which means we need to be operating at our maximum potential. So I spend hours EV training Scalper and Chicken Little to optimize their best stats. When the work is done, my Pigeon can now outspeed every Pokemon left in the game and hit like a sedan if he gets a crit. And my trash bag, well, she's still ass, but with Toxic, Protect, and Black Sludge, she can still win in the least honorable way possible.
That doesn't bother me though, because from here on out, I'm committed to finishing this game without any more deaths. I know we've gotten pretty lucky with our Wheel of Death spins, but after blending up Linguini, I just don't think I can take another loss like that.
After hours of prep, I'm finally ready to take on Drayden. As I said earlier, the trainers inside the gym are scarier than Drayden himself, but that doesn't mean this will be a walk in the park. If I make a single mistake, there's a good chance his Haxorus can wipe the floor with us and end the run. So, I won't. I lead with Roggenrola, and the battle begins with both of our Pokemon going for the setup. My Excadrill Sword stances, while Fracture's Dragon dances. Even with the speed boost, my Excadrill still is faster, thanks to the Legion of Basculin he slaughtered while we were EV training Chicken Little, and we get the one-shot with an Earthquake. With 2 attack increases and a Stab Soft Sand boosted Earthquake, this battle is pretty much over. Roggenrola kills both Drayden's Druddigon and Haxorus in one hit, netting us our 8th and final badge. We are now officially in the final stretch, and the wildcard packs, they didn't really have much left. Next, I head north and catch a Volibee on Route 10, which I name Rufflet because I played Pokemon White version growing up, and I just really like the Bravery line a lot better than Mandibuzz, and honestly, I don't think there's anything this Pokemon could do to really change that. I have one more battle with Sharon, which goes as smooth as butter, with 0 close calls.
Oh. What?
I have to fight a few more trainers before heading up to Victory Road, including this guy, Veteran Chester. And I think you should know by now that nothing good is about to happen if I'm name-dropping a random trainer battle, so let's just get into it. His first Pokemon is Beartic, which is a total pushover. Then in comes both of our Toads.
I think even a crit here doesn't kill us. What did I tell you? Wasn't scared for a second.
Finally, a Scavalier. I bring back Charlotte only to find out that this thing knows Aerial Ace.
Oh,
Now, I probably can just outspeed and one-shot with Flamethrower from this position, but because I'm an overly cautious idiot, I decide to bring out Gloria to hit with Flame Charge instead.
Oh, don't crit. Bruh. Are you kidding me?
I was really mad about this one because this was just such an obvious mistake.
Are you joking right now?
I've been playing way too cautious this entire run, and seeing it bite me in the ass here was the slap in the face I needed to start playing more confidently from here on out.
How are you getting killed by X's or from Isca? What is up with the...
I promised myself that I wouldn't have to bury another Pokemon like 3 minutes ago. Yet, here we are, my trusted partner, a victim of my own incompetence. After I buried Gloria, though, I would be back and stronger than ever.
I'm kind of running out of things to say at this point, so I'm just gonna kind of get on with it. Lifeline! Hey! This card is safe. Thank God.
For our hopefully final new team member, I need to pick whichever option will have the best matchup into the Elite Four, N, and Getsis. 2 of the Elite Four members are weak to Dark types, making this choice clear. Rufflet, the Vullaby. Since our level cap for the Elite Four is 54, the same level as Getsis' Hydreigon, we'll actually be able to evolve her into Mandibuzz, making this choice even easier.
So for hopefully the final time, I start the clock and go back to Old Reliable because I saw they had a Vullaby IR in the case last time I was here. And it's still there this time, which was great. But to make things even better, there just so happened to be a trade night going on right when I arrived. I had no idea this was going to be here, but this totally works out in our favor, because after chatting with a couple of people, I found someone who had the Mandibuzz, making this hunt officially done and dusted for just $12. Back in the game, I EV trained Rufflet the Mandibuzz, maxing its special attack and putting some investment into speed and HP. Then I grind up the rest of my team to the level cap with another Autonoke Culling. And I found a shiny. That was cool, I guess. After literally 4 hours of grinding, we're finally ready. Everything comes down to this. After countless battles, after friends coming and going, and after almost $200 spent, we're ready to take on the final gauntlet. In Generation 5, you're allowed to select the order that you fight the Elite Four members in. So it's to our benefit to take on the easiest battles first, so we'll be stronger for the more difficult ones. First up is Chantal and her ghost types. Rufflet the Mandibuzz takes center stage versus Chantal's Cofagrigus. With 4 moves that are essentially useless against Rufflet, I'm free to set up a nasty plot. The incoming Shadow Ball barely makes a dent, meaning that from here on out, the battle is pretty much over. The only thing that can really go wrong would be Jellicin's Cursed Body activating and disabling Dark Pulse. But that's only a 30% chance, so I'm not really worried about that. Even with the boost to my special attack, Boulder can tank my Air Slash unless it crits, so I'm gonna have to either be prepared to take a Brick Break, or switch,
Or we get a crit and one-shot it anyway. Thank you, Rufflet. Okay. That was good. That was the only thing that could have gone wrong, and we got around it. Very nice.
Next up was Caitlyn. The strategy here is exactly the same, but with a bit of a larger margin of error. Caitlyn leads with Reuniclus, which has the super effective move Thunder. If Thunder either crits or paralyzes me, then we're in big trouble. Thankfully, the odds of that happening are super low, so... I got you with that pause, didn't I? No, we're totally fine, don't worry.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay, I think we just win now.
With a nasty plot boost and full HP, this battle is over. Thanks to the slight speed investment I made in Rufflet's EVs, she can outspeed and one-shot everything on Caitlyn's team, including her fastest Pokemon, Sigilith, which I certainly take extra pleasure in knocking out.
Let's go! Get out of here, Sigilith!
2 down, 2 to go. Marshall will give our team the most trouble, so just like every other problem in my life, I decided to put it off until later. On to Grimsley. Charlotte is the star of this match. We get off to a strong start by one-shotting Scrafty thanks to the Expert Belt boosted Brick Break. Then comes Crocodile, which is probably the scariest Pokemon on this emo boy's team. I swap in a Rufflet since she resists every move the Croc has besides Dragon Claw. Being aggressive, I decide to go for a Nasty Plot, hoping that my bird can take the Claw without too much trouble. Yep, I think we're fine. Next up is Grizzly's ace, Bisharp. Rufflet can't do much here, so I swap into Rock and Roll since he resists all of Bisharp's attacks. Brick Break insta-kills thanks to the 4x weakness, leaving just a weak kitty in the way of my mole. A single Earthquake is all it takes to seal the deal.
Sweet. That's 3.
Just 1 battle left. Despite having 2 flying types on my team, Marshall is a real threat. All 4 of his Pokemon have Rock-type moves to pelt my birds out of the air. Still though, leading with Chicken Little is the best chance I got. Marshall leads off with his throw, so we go for the air slash, hoping for a flinch, which doesn't happen. Then, throws Stone Edge connects and does massive damage. With both of our Mons in kill range, Marshall and I both bitch out and use a potion, resetting the fight. So I run back the same move again, still not getting the kill, so we both reset again. With both of Marshall's forward stores used up, we're free to go for the kill. Next comes Sock, who would normally be a total pushover if it weren't for its stupid sturdy ability. Fearing a potential retaliate, I use Fly to make sure I'm out of the way. Sock hangs on with sturdy and then sadly hits the Stone Edge, ending Chicken Little's life.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting to be able to get through all these battles without losing anyone, and as sad as it is to say, someone needed to make space for Reshiram to join later on if we're gonna have any chance of beating Getsus and N. Rufflet takes things from there and is able to wipe out the rest of Marshall's team thanks to Chicken Little's sacrifice.
And it's a one-shot. Beautiful display. Oh my god, I am so sorry I ever doubted Vullaby. This Pokemon... Okay, sorry, I gotta give Chicken Little the credit too. He was kind of essential to setting us up for success there.
Since I don't want to stop playing, I decide to hold my bird's funeral until after the run is over, along with anyone else who may bite the dust in the final battles. The Elite Four is done. Now it's time for our date with Destiny. N really wants to impress me and pulls out all the stops. He built us an entire castle to live in and raised it from the ground. Even with this giant display of affection, he's still feeling a little shy, so he runs away. He really knows how to play hard to get, huh? I chase after him, but his homophobic uncles block me. I thought all hope was lost here. I really did. Until... all the gym leaders assemble, and I swear I heard the Avengers theme start playing. With their help, I'm able to ascend the castle steps to N's throne. Before I can enter, his dad gives me a stern talking about how I'm not good enough for N, and he dares me to prove him wrong. So that's exactly what I'll do. I head inside, and N still has his walls up, but he does compliment me. However, he makes it clear that even though he wants to be with me, not having a legendary dragon of my own is a deal breaker for him. Good thing I have Reshiram on speed dial. Not wanting to keep my date waiting, I use the Master Ball to quickly add the legendary dragon to my team, which I named Jeff after the fact that this nicknaming joke stopped being funny 45 minutes ago and I'm running out of ideas. I quickly add Jeff to the party binder and get ready for things between N and I to get serious. We both lead off with our dragons. How romantic. However, I like Roggenroll's matchup against Zekrom better as it resists all of its moves, allowing me to easily set up a sword stance. Earthquake slays the dragon and Zoroark, and in comes Caracosta, who is the only thing standing in my way of sweeping N's entire team. And of course, this turtle has Sturdy, which has already given us trouble before. However, this time I came prepared. I gave Roggenrola the Rocky Helmet, which will deal damage back to Caracosta if it hits me. So, as long as Waterfall doesn't crit, I'll survive and KO the turtle. From there, Roggenrola can outspeed and kill everything left on N's team. This turn will decide the whole battle, and potentially the entire run.
We should be able to take this hit, I'm pretty sure. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. No! What? Oh, it crit! What the f***? Oh, you gotta be joking, that was the one! Oh, damn it!
We got crit again? No. Roggenrola is dead. The strongest member of our team is dead. And we still have the hardest battle in the entire game left to play. To make things worse, with the battlefield empty, I have no idea which of N's 3 remaining Pokemon will come next. I have to take a total shot in the dark here, so I opted for Gonzo, as he has the best overall matchup against everything that was left. N sends out Vanillix. Okay, I can handle this. He sets up Hail, and Gonzo starts punching. We go back and forth for a couple of turns, spamming Blizzard, punching, and healing. Eventually, Vanillix runs out of PP, and we're able to take it out. Kling Klang comes next, and harshly lowers my special defense with the metal sound. It tanks a mud shot, but thanks to the speed drop, my Toad is able to go first next turn before taking any damage. We're now down to N's final Pokemon, Archeops. It goes for Acrobatics, which does a lot of damage, but our Toad still hangs on. I pray to the RNG gods for Muddy Water not to miss, and press A. And it connects! OHKOing N's last friend. It was over.
Let's go! Let's go. Whew. Damn, that crit! That crit was really bad. I was really hoping we'd have Excadrill for the Ghetsis fight.
N and I have a heart-to-heart after our battle sesh, but it's unfortunately rudely interrupted by his dad, who's pissed. He really doesn't approve of our relationship and is taking it all out on N. Jeez, and I thought Bianca's dad sucked. After he's done scolding N, he turns his attention to me. I think it's about time someone put this asshole in his place. It's time for the final battle of the run. It all comes down to this. Obviously, Roggenroll's death threw a big ol' wrench into my plans here. Losing your best defensive and offensive Pokemon right before the most important battle in the entire game isn't really setting yourself up for success. I'm convinced that if I was going to beat Ghetsis, this was going to be a bloody fight to the death. That is, until I realized a massive Achilles heel in his strategy. Ghetsis' lead, Cofagrigus, much like Chantal's from earlier, has no moves that can do anything significant to rough with the Mandibuzz, other than poison it. So once the battle begins, I immediately switch to Rufflet and proceed to click Nasty Plot 3 times, maxing out my special attack, and then setting up a Tailwind. Then, I finally send the Cough into his grave, and then two-shot his Bisharp, who takes 60% damage from a resisted attack, by the way. From there, Bouffalant and Electros both go down in one hit. Next, Ghetsis sends out his scariest Pokemon, a level 54 Hydreigon. Since my Tailwind has run out by this point, I no longer outspeed, meaning I'll have to risk a Dragon Pulse crit to get off an Air Slash.
We tank the Dragon Pulse as long as it's a crit. Okay, Air Slash. No way, we one-shot Hydreigon. Oh my god! We beat him! Seismitoad? Can Seismitoad? No, we... Oh my god, we just swept him. We beat the card lock! Yes! Oh my god! Dude! Fucking Mandibuzz? Save the run! Legitimately save the run. I cannot even fucking put into words how much more difficult this probably would have been without this Pokemon. This is insane.
We beat the card lock! After so many heartbreaking deaths and euphoric victories, we actually did it. We conquered the most emotionally challenging Pokemon Nuzlocke ever created.
With Ghetsis defeated, N and I have one final romantic embrace. I feel so happy that it seems our relationship can finally begin, but it soon becomes clear that our time spent together has changed him. He says that he needs to find himself away from me. So, no head.
We're gonna be spinning for this illustration rare, beautiful artwork. But as always, the pre-evolutions are safe. They're gonna be in the giveaway. We have a Pokeball P-Dove and a Pokeball Tranquil. So if you want one of these, make sure to subscribe. And we're gonna go ahead and spin the wheel. We'll try and give it a really good spin. Power wash. That's what it sounds like. I'm gonna shoot this thing with a power washer. It's pretty bendy now. Definitely some water damage. The edges are fraying off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So let's go ahead and spin for Roggenrola. He was definitely one of the MVPs of the run. This is the last one. This is the last time I'll be spinning this wheel until the next card lot, maybe, if you want to see another one. So, hopefully he will die an honorable death. Let's see. Ooh, power wash again? I'm gonna spin it again. We're gonna do a different death. It's the end. I'm gonna do a different death. Blowtorch, okay. He is weak to fire. So I guess it's more fitting. Oh. Yeah, I think it's gone. So I tried to blow on it to like make sure it wasn't too hot before I picked it up, and it disintegrated. So this is all that's left. I think this is worth grading though. I think I could at least get a PSA 5 for this. I mean, come on, like, the bottom's not bad. It's a little scratched up, but like,